Welcome to the BakeLikeAPro YouTube channel. In today's really fun video, I'm going to show you how to make my apple crumb cake recipe. So let's get on with the ingredients. 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of granulated sugar, 3/4 of a cup of salted butter, and my butter is cold at this point. 2 apples, 3/4 of a cup of milk, and I am using 2% milk in this recipe. You can use any type of milk that you wish. You could use 3.25%, which is a full milk, or you could even use a skim milk. 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and our last ingredient, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So those are the ingredients, so let's get started. For the first part of my recipe, I have put my 2 eggs into a bowl. I just want to mix those up a little bit. And I am using large eggs, as I always do in all of my recipes. Just get all of that mixed up. And then I'm going to add in our milk. And just give that a little whisk. And that's good, and now we'll just put that to the side. Into a large bowl, we're going to get in all of our all-purpose flour. And then our chilled butter, and I am using salted butter in this recipe. That's good. And then I'm going to use a little tool called a pastry blender. It's just a series of little blades. And all I want to do now is just break up all of the butter. So just keep doing this until all of the little pieces of butter are really well combined with your flour, and they're relatively small. About the size of very small peas. So this is a good minute of breaking down all of the little pieces of butter, and I think that looks pretty good. I just wanted to mention something. If you don't have a little tool like this, which is called a pastry blender or a pastry cutter, if you don't have one of these, you can take 2 knives, put them in at an angle, it's like this, and then you're going to go back and forth. And this does the exact same thing. It takes a little bit longer, but it works very well. So I just wanted to show you that. Then I'm going to add in all of my granulated white sugar and my baking powder. We'll give that a little bit of a stir. So at this point, make sure that everything's mixed well, because we are going to be removing 3/4 of a cup of this mixture to top our cake with right before it goes into the oven. So that's good. And now I've just got a 1/4 cup measure here, and I'm just going to take out 3 of these. Does not have to be accurate. And I'm actually going to weigh this in grams to make sure I give you an accurate reading in grams. Later on, you'll see that appear on the screen. So I've taken out 3/4 of a cup, and this is what we're going to be using as the crumble top for our cake just before it goes into the oven. And then I'm going to add in all of my ground cinnamon. Grab our whisk again and just get all of this mixed. That smells really good. Okay, that's nicely mixed. And I just want to note that at this point, my oven has been preheating for about 20 to 25 minutes. The oven is at correct temperature for this cake, which is 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You never want to put a cake or cookies into a cold oven, so always make sure, whatever the recipe indicates, make sure that you have your oven set and it has reached that temperature before you put your cake into the oven. Now we're going to take our milk and eggs mixture that we made in the first step of our video. We'll get all of that in there. And then I'm just going to slowly start mixing all of this together. So that's good. And then I have my 2 apples here. I'm just going to peel these, I'm going to core them, and then I'm just going to dice them up. So here we have the 2 apples that I just diced up. I'm just going to get all those in there. And it's funny, but when you look at the 2 apples, when they're whole, they don't look like they're going to be enough for this recipe. But if you use too many apples, you're going to find that this cake is a little bit too moist. You can see when they're cut up, it's quite substantial in this recipe. You're going to make this recipe once, and you're going to keep making it. This is really, really good. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir. That's good. And now we're going to fill our pan. What I have here is a 9-inch square baking tin. I have lined it with parchment paper. Parchment paper is called baking paper in some countries. I've put 2 little metal clips on there. I'll just lift this up to show you. And now we'll just fill it. And as promised, I've also weighed out the topping that we're going to be placing on top, and that's exactly 125 grams. So that's what you're going to be removing from that dry batter. But I will put that on the screen so there is no confusion. That's good. I'm just going to spread this out a little bit. Just want to make it even. Get it right up to the sides. Oh, it smells amazing. Okay, that's good. So then our last step, we have that topping. Now I'm just going to take it and try to get it on evenly. So just take your time and just get it all over the top. On our last little bit. Perfect. And now I'm going to put my cake into my 350-degree Fahrenheit oven. I'll bake it off, and when I come back I'll tell you exactly how long I baked it. So here we are again. I baked my apple cake for a total of 45 minutes in my 350-degree Fahrenheit oven. I did check it with a little wooden skewer in a couple of places to make sure that it was perfectly done. I cannot tell you how good this smells. The aroma that's coming up at me, amazing. I'd love to try this right now, but it's extremely hot. We have to let it cool down. So that's what I'm going to do. Let it cool down, and then I'll come back a little later on. We'll take a slice, and I'll show you what it looks like inside. So this is about 20 minutes later, and I just want to make sure that I get a clean break. I want to remove this before the cake completely cools, so I don't want to have a lot of condensation beginning to happen. I can see this cake is already broken free. So there we have it. Remove our little metal clips, and then just grab the parchment paper and just pull it right out. Look at that. Whoa, amazing. So at this point, this is quite warm still, so I do want to just let this completely cool, which I'll do. I'll come back in about an hour or so, and then we're going to cut into it. So this is a little while later, and I can't wait any longer, so I want to show you what this looks like inside. Can you see how nice this cuts? Amazing. Oh. Make sure I keep you on camera here. Let's take a nice slice right there. Get my plate. I'm going to turn this. There's a little piece. Well, that's good. I'm just going to turn this so you can see. Let me just zoom in here. I tried to zoom in a little bit more to show you. That's as close as I can get. Look at this. Can you see how nice that cake is? This is extremely moist. The camera is not going to show you how nice this cake is. You have to try it, and the aroma when I cut into that, wow. So there we have it. So of course we're gonna have to try a little piece. So just looking at the cake, I can see that this is the perfect amount of apples. You really don't want to use more than 2. You can see how moist this cake is just with me touching it with the fork. Really nice. That is too amazing for words. That's all I can say. I hope you try my recipe out. A really fun one, a really fast one for today. If you enjoyed my video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you wish. I'd really appreciate that. And if you're on Facebook, check me out at facebook.com/BakeLikeAPro. So that's it for today's really fun video. Try this cake out. You're going to love it. That really is amazing.